Jake with One Performance here. I'm going to show you guys a quick video on how to remove and replace rear wheel bearing assembly, hub assembly on a Mk7 GTI. This will be effective for any Mk7 2015 through 19. Basically anything MQB really. Volkswagen likes to keep things the same across different models. In a previous video I put these Mk5 R32 brakes on, and in that video I did not have an M18 triple square, so I opted to cut off the dust shields, and as a result of that got a little wild, and not sure if I'll show it well here, but I damaged the ring on the back side of the hub that the ABS sensor reads. So stupid mistake, but an opportunity to show you guys how to change this hub assembly. So up to this point I've backed up the brake slider pins with a 15mm and removed the brake slider bolts, which are 13mm, and slid the caliper off the carrier and slid the brake pads out. I didn't really need to, but I disconnected the e-brake just to make sure we're not going to be inadvertently tightening things down to where we'd have to ratchet in the piston to get the caliper back on. I've removed the T30 Torx from the disc. I use a small impact, but if you don't have one, just a regular screwdriver with a T30 Torx bit and a hammer. If you're careful, you can get them out that way. All this stuff's coming apart fairly easy because it was just apart last week. So next I'm going to grab my chisel and hammer and pop this dust cap off, and then we're going to remove the hub and the rotor. Now just showing the bearings side by side. New replacement, nice and tight. Old wheel bearing, although it wasn't given any symptoms of it, is actually bad. Really bad. So not a huge surprise at 79,000 miles, but I guess we're killing two birds with one stone here. So we're going to clean this up and reassemble. And also note that doing this with the carrier still in place, it's only going to fit just barely, so it might take a little bit of finesse to get the rotor and hub off together. But I was able to do so without damaging anything, so if you're careful you can do the same. Definitely do not get wild with this. Don't start crying and beating on stuff. If it's fighting you, just remove the carrier. Save yourself the grief of having damaged brake components. It's not worth it. I removed the carrier bolts and reinstalled them in my prior video about installing these brakes, so if you do get to that point, go ahead and check that out, and we'll just keep on with this one. Alright, got our new torque to yield M18 triple square bolt in there. Torque wrench set to 150. And it requires a 180-degree turn. Hey baby. Went just a hair over, but that's the 150 foot-pounds plus 180 turn, and it was a little tighter than I was comfortable with the new bearing, so we're going to go ahead and take the carrier off for reinstallation. Alright, so now we're going to torque the brake carrier bolts to 66 foot-pounds or 90 Newton meters, depending on what kind of scale you have on your torque wrench. Like I said in the other video, a smaller torque wrench is probably going to be your better bet here, just unless you're on a 2-post lift, because you don't have a whole lot of room to get in there. And this, of course, would have been easier on my quick jack, but it's broke for the 3rd time in the exact same way in 2019. So, shout out to quick jack. Not all that happy about that. So right now I'm putting a Sharpie mark as a visual reference for my 90-degree turn for the torque to yield bolts here. Alright, there's one. There's two. So I reinstalled my studs with Loctite. The caliper's been reinstalled to the carrier. The carrier's reinstalled and torqued. Got the emergency brake cable reinstalled, and that's it. A little bit of brake drag just because the emergency brake. Yeah, I'm gonna throw the wheel back on, drive it. Hopefully my ABS faults are cleared. And now, after finding that wheel bearing bad, planning to do the other side the next week or so whenever I can get parts. Definitely don't want a wheel bearing failure at the track or in my daily commute. So if you guys have any questions, I could always do a follow-up video when I do the other side. Appreciate everybody that subscribes. I know this is a smaller page, but the more followers I get, the more videos like this I'll do. So thanks for watching. I hope this helped. Sorry for the poor production quality, but yeah, comment below if you have any questions. Thanks. So that was a good fix. Just driving the end of my driveway, cleared the faults. I just set actual tire pressures yesterday, so I know they're all at 37. So we're gonna drive it and do the other bearing in about a week.